The year 2025 has indeed surprised us all, but what's in store for 2026? Is the automobile growth momentum here to stay? What's in store with respect to the key launches for 2026? Yes, of course, we have all those questions, and to answer all of that, we have today a very special guest, the OG voice of Indian automobile industry, Hormazd Sorabjee. Needs no introduction, Hormazd. So good having you on the channel.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Absolutely. Even on the Motown Show, I think we are having you for the first time. Lots to talk about. So why don't we get the wheels rolling and hit the road?
Let's go.
So Hormazd, 2026 looks to be yet again an interesting year in terms of the launches. But firstly, why don't we start by talking about the growth that the industry should be expecting or we can see, because the second half has been really exciting in terms of the numbers. So for 2026, how do you see the growth in percentage terms, in numbers terms? What are your thoughts there?
Well, I think, we have to say that GST kind of upended everything. It gave a real booster shot. It was something fantastic for the industry. It gave them the opportunity to not only lower prices, in proportion to the GST cut, but also to kind of tweak pricing. So the benefit was much more to the customer, and a lot of manufacturers use this to kind of correct prices as well. And we saw the impact of that. So, really it was a year of two halves. I wouldn't say two halves. It was 9 months and the last 3 months. So the first 9 months of 25 pretty flat. I think we were almost going to go maybe even into negative growth, but then the GST came, and I think the momentum is carrying on. We've had a great December, but I think prices are going up in Jan. I mean, I think that was to be expected, but I think growth will still be there, but I think it will be in single digits, because clearly we are a very, very high base now, 4.5 million cars. That's what we managed in December 20, by the end of 25. So I think, yes, I think growth will continue, but I don't think it's going to be galloping. And we will see the GST effect tapering off as we get into the first few months of the new year.
So I'm just talking about the first few months, because at the start of the January itself, I think it's becoming more sort of a trend that the companies will come out and announce their price hikes. We have done from the luxury car makers to some of these other OEMs. They have also done it. Do you believe that it can dampen the demand in any way, or the price hikes is just minuscule?
Well, I think, price hikes are typically done at the start of the new year, so that's a pretty set pattern. And clearly you're getting, a newer car, you're getting a 26 registered car, so there's an upside to that, and there's a value in that as well. So, but I think, overall, it's just the overall demand, I think, is from a very high base right now. And, we are not really seeing signs of, that kind of, let's say, right after COVID, when demand completely skyrocketed, is going to be a lot more tempered. As I said, I think single-digit growth. Some companies, of course, will do better than others. A lot depends on the new launches, who's doing what. If you see, typically, you need the big ones from brands like Maruti and Hyundai. When they launch cars, they generally, the whole market grows with these kind of key players launching models. But I think, there are going to be some interesting launches as well. And I think what we can't get away from the fact is that cars are getting more expensive, and that will be a dampening effect at some point.
Yes, but January is looking very much interesting in terms of the new launches indeed, and specifically from the EV standpoint as well. Even Maruti is coming out, finally coming out. The prices are yet to be revealed. But what's your sense when Maruti enters the EV space? Can they really make a difference?
Well, I think, the potential is there, because clearly the might of their distribution, just on the base of that, the numbers are just huge, irrespective of the product. I mean, today even the lowest selling Maruti sells in thousands. as opposed to hundreds for certain OEMs on their weak models. So it definitely can, but I think the e-Vitara is going to have its work cut out. It's not cutting edge. It's not really something that's really wow about it. So I think they will kind of let's say trade on the fact that you're getting a car that is very reliable. They're going to have charging infrastructure at all the Maruti outlets, so they feel that's going to at least solve some of the charging infra problem. They're going to build the charging infrastructure, focusing a lot on the overall ownership experience. That's what they are hoping to do. But I think EV buyers want a bit of excitement. They want something excitement, and the e-Vitara isn't a very exciting product.
All right, but Hormazd, the other thing I wanted to understand is with respect to the SUV interest that we have seen. Now, SUVs, now in terms of the numbers and the penetration, it's over 50% in the Indian markets. And yes, of course, after that GST bonanza, we have seen a pickup in the small cars. Well, what's your sense that will Indian buyers prefer, or rather this whole GST thing, the initial bump up in the sales number was indeed there?
Yeah, that's right, because if you see, you take the sub 4 meter cars, you went from 28 to 18%, so that's quite a delta. Others you were going from 48 and 43 to 40% standardized, though in absolute terms the value is more, but if you see in percentage terms, this was the maximum. And what was interesting is that in the small car segment, it's the base, products really didn't see much uptick, which just goes to show how the market structure is shifting. Once what used to be the best-selling car would always be the cheapest car. That is no longer the case. So the Altos are still struggling. The lower end is still struggling, but what you've seen is a big uptick at the high end of the sub 4 meter market with the compact SUVs, and I think that is really where there's we've seen the maximum difference and impact that's happened.